Hello, wherever you are in the world today. Welcome to Beyond the Art and our series, The Stories That Carry Us. I'm your host, Craig Beaumont Flynn, a citizen of the Cherokee Nation and the Delaware Tribe of Indians. In each episode, we will discuss with various Native American artists, influencers, art leaders, and everyone in between their experiences, the communities they serve, and the translation and interpretation of the Native American art world today. Well, today we're honored to have Heather Johnston on our show. Heather, welcome to the show. So you are a ledger artist in Aleut, if I got that correctly, and we're excited to have you on our show. So please tell us a little about your unique story.
Oh, okay, I will. Yes, I'm Aleut and Alutiiq from Kodiak and Sandpoint, Alaska. I've been doing art all my life. I really got into painting first. And I did a lot of, I guess you would say, contemporary tribal paintings, little combination of the styles there. And then I got into the ledger art, which I absolutely love. And I took my own take on it, and I decided to put them on maps. Because a lot of the times they're on, antique ledgers or banknotes and things of that nature. But I was like, no, let's go with antique maps. So definitely brings a little extra, I think, to the table.
What inspired you to do it that way and to create your art on antique maps?
Well, actually, there's a gallery in Sisters, Oregon. They did a collaboration with a bunch of artists with maps. And I was one of those artists. And I just took it and I ran with it. And they're actually doing another show right now. I believe it starts on the 12th of this month with another collection of maps. And I have some in there as well.
So how are you inspired? Is it through your tribal culture and heritage, or do you take elements from various other tribes, or just you're inspired by what you dream? What actually is your motivation and inspiration to create your art?
I would say it's a little bit of everything, really. Like if I have a miniature map in front of me, I'll look at the map and look at the colors and look at the lines. And then usually something pops right into my head and I'm like, I know what I'm putting on there. And then sometimes because I'll do a lot on antique sheet music also. And a lot of those have titles. And so I'll see that title and I'll know right away what's going on that piece. And then other times, try until you win, I guess.
Right. Is your process that you start drawing it out, or you just look at that map and then you just go to town?
A lot of the times I just look at the map and I just go to town on the map. And one of my fatal flaws, I guess I would say, is I draw with pen. So I can't make a mistake.
Right. No such thing, for correction or just, it's there.
Much easier with the paintings.
Yeah, true. What's your perspective of being a Native American artist?
I absolutely love it because I feel like I can share stories and share culture with a wide variety of people, and it's not just going to appeal to one person or the other. Everybody might get inspired, and I really love, because I'm a mother and I have 7 children. And a lot of my children are inspired every day, and it just makes my heart happy because I have a good half of my children say, Mom, I want to be an artist like you. And that just makes me so happy.
I bet. That warms your heart.
It does.
How would you describe yourself as an artist?
I actually haven't thought about that. I would describe myself as very open-minded and willing to try new things.
Good. So do you take risk and challenge yourself?
Oh, I definitely do, because I actually made this piece. I don't know if you can see it here.
Oh, I can. Yeah, beautiful.
This is an ivory piece, so it is ivory and yellow diamonds.
Wow.
So I carved that, and then I inlaid all the diamonds in that, and that's up my alley too, I guess.
What do you think is an important factor of being a Native American artist?
I would say the biggest factor, the most important, would be staying true to yourself. You have to stay true to yourself and your beliefs and just what you want to accomplish. And if you do that, then you'll go far.
There you go. Yeah. Are you inspired also? Do you take a lot of the cultural elements from your tribal nation and incorporate it into your art, or you try to translate it and reinterpret it into something more contemporary?
I guess it would be a bit of both. I really try. Unfortunately, the World War II had a lot to do with losing a lot of the past for the Aleuts. Um, so really, we have to find elders and see what we can find, traditional wise.
Hmm.
A lot of the stories and just a lot of the traditional items and traditional artwork. I mean, it's really hard to find in Aleut culture. Um, but I take what knowledge I have of that and then mix it with my own flair, which is a little more contemporary.
So, did you grow up being surrounded by your culture and heritage? Was that an important factor as a youth?
It really is because growing up in Alaska, it's I think there's over 200 tribes in Alaska, which a lot of people don't know that. There's tons in Alaska. So really it's a big giant melting pot of everyone. And you
Hmm.
learn a little bit of everything from everyone. In our powwows, everyone goes. Everyone.
So, when you look at your pieces, is there something that you're trying to, besides being a Native American and be inspired by that, is there something that you, as part of you, that you're trying to relay a story or a message?
I do because I really feel inspired a lot by antiques in the past. It really just touches something inside of me, and it inspires me so deeply that every time I get an antique piece or anything like that, I feel like I'm already a part of the past, and I try to share that with, I guess you could say, the present. So,
Right.
yeah,
So your kids aren't being inspired by you. Do you see them going in the same direction as you? Do you mentor them
I
and others?
do. I
Yeah.
do. I do. And actually, three of my daughters have been really wanting to go to art shows. So we're going to get them started here soon.
Fantastic. Are they
Yeah.
actually practicing their artistry?
Oh, they do. They really
Yeah.
do. And then I actually have one of my daughters that wants to take after my father and do the baleen baskets.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So did your father inspire you to get into the arts?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
He's just amazing. He can do so many different things, and with his art, I watch at the shows and just anywhere we go how much he inspires people and how happy and amazed people are by his artwork, and he every time, and he's been doing this for, I don't know, 30 years at least, and for him to still feel that proud and that happy making someone else smile,
Right.
that inspires me.
So is he a full-time artist?
Yeah,
Oh, fantastic. So do you go on the market circuit with him into shows?
we do.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So are you exhibiting anywhere currently?
The next show is going to be, Swaya.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
The epitome of all artists that are
Yep.
yes.
So, I'll be at Swaya in the plaza, um, do that one in August. I just did the herd. I actually got, uh, 1st place for the 2nd year in a row at the herd.
Well, congrats.
That's pretty amazing. And last year I got 2nd at Swaya, so we'll see what happens this year.
So tell us a little bit about some of your poignant pieces that you've done that you're really proud of.
I would say one of the ones that I'm extremely proud of would be my blanket toss piece on an antique 1827 map. That piece just it's amazing. There's I don't remember how many people I put on there, but their whole blanket toss scene, the blankets sewn together, you can tell that it's hides. Man up in the air, obviously from the blanket toss, and then there's little
Right.
families in the background watching. It's just one big giant celebration.
What are you surprised about some of the responses you've gotten on some of your pieces?
Oh, I can tell you some pieces I'm like, man, why did I do that? I really do.
What was I
I'm like,
thinking?
why? And then you have people coming, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And I'm like, okay, sometimes things just work out how they're supposed to work out.
Yep, very true. Has there been any
Oh.
pieces where you weren't surprised by the responses that you thought it was gonna get?
Yes, I actually did the one last year for Swaya,
Mhm.
which it was for their 100th, for the centennial. It had 100 people and animals on there. It was very time consuming and intricate, and those people were so tiny, so tiny. I'm glad I don't need readers yet, but that piece really spoke to me, and it spoke to so many people. And as soon as the show opened on Saturday morning, it was gone. It was gone right away.
Hmm.
Yeah,
What are you working on now? Do you do, commissions?
I do. I've been really busy with commissions. I actually just did a collaboration with PCC Community Markets and did tote bags for them. And right now I'm working on an installation for PCC Markets for one of their stores. So I'm going to be having a bunch of artwork in there. And then I just got done with a show for Stonington Gallery in Seattle. So I've been
Fantastic.
fairly busy.
You're a working artist full-time and a full-time mom with 7 kids.
Yes. And a couple of them are even home and you can't even tell.
No, it's quiet.
It is.
Um, so what motivates you each day to get to work and start creating?
Really just life and my kids and my family. It's just, I don't know, I feel like it's just built in. It's a built-in part of me that just
Mhm.
says, "Come on, let's go." And I do.
You don't have, those, what you call it, writer's block, but artistic blocks?
Oh, that definitely happens. That
Yeah.
happens. That happened yesterday. I'm sitting there with my canvas ready to go and I'm like, "Nope, not today."
No. Do you do multiples at once, or do you just strictly focus on
I
one piece
do
at a time?
multiples at once. I'll do maps and paintings at the same time, multiple paintings. Just Saturday, I was working on 4 paintings at once. So it definitely happens, especially if you're doing a collection. It's nice to make sure everything is cohesive and flows together smoothly. I don't want to end up with this color totally contradicting that color, or.
Right. Yeah. So do you take challenges or risk, do you think, in some of your pieces?
Oh, I definitely do with the maps and not using a pencil.
Yeah. You
No,
can
but I
erase
do.
the pencil.
I do, and I actually have a piece that I'm going to be doing here soon that'll actually tell a little bit more of the World War II situation with the Aleuts, and that's going to be maybe a little controversial, but I think that story needs to be told.
Mhm. I think all stories, good and bad, should be represented in our art because I think
I
it
think so.
educates a wider audience. What are some of the stories that have been significant that you've tried to relay?
Well, a lot of them are just the traditional ways of life in Alaska. I mean, it's so important, like subsistence fishing and hunting and all of those things because they're becoming less and less every day. And a lot of the villages up north, I mean, mind you, I'm from the Panhandle, but lots of family and lots of friends that are from up north, they rely on that. That's a year-round thing. Like whaling, they go whaling.
Mhm.
The whale doesn't just feed their family. I mean, it feeds multiple villages. And
Correct.
for them to lose those things would be detrimental. And we do a lot of fishing, and that, I mean, the fish in Alaska is amazing. I'll just say that. But
So I've heard.
there's a lot of traditional things they use, like the halibut hooks or the seal floats. I mean, all of those things. I mean, I don't see how we could make it better because those things were built to work, and
Mhm.
I want to show all that.
So that's part of your I guess your story that you relay in some of your pieces
I
is
do. I do that a
incorporating it?
lot, and just like the handmade, kayaks, they're called badarkas, um, the Aleuts started those, and those are really, I mean, they use no nails, no nothing. It's all just intricate locking in, there you go. And it's just amazing. And they take those
Mhm.
out in the middle of the ocean. And I don't want to, but
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be a little scared, I guess you could say.
yes.
Are there any are there any, artistic influencers for you?
Really, I would say it'd be a lot. Very, very many because there are so many different styles and so many different mediums. And as an artist, and I know a lot of people feel the same way, it's really hard to stick to one medium. It is
Mhm.
really hard because you get inspired in so many ways. Because I've been inspired by my father, and that's why I started doing the carvings. I'll do the basket eventually, but I mean, I've done jewelry, beadwork. Um, I do masks. Um, and really, I just try to take as much knowledge from everyone that I can because everything is inspiring. Like totem poles, oh man, that's in my bucket list right there. That
Yeah.
is, that would be amazing.
So besides the totem pole, what other type of mediums do you wanna try out and try your hand out?
I guess I would probably like to do a lot more in clay and probably do, I would say a lot more in sculptures because really all I've done is masks, but sculptures, they really speak to me too. They really do.
And what sort of materials? Wood or
Wood, bronze, anything really. But
that would
try
be
it, don't
try
succeed,
yeah,
fine, move on to the next one.
yeah, absolutely. You don't know until you try.
Exactly.
Is there a part of the day that you feel more creative? Is it, like, first dawn, or is it dusk, or is it throughout the
I
day,
would
just
say
whenever the
probably middle of the day and evening.
Mhm.
That seems to be, run inside with, my kids calm me down a little bit for the day.
What's the age, variance of your kids?
17 to 2 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yep,
You have your own tribe.
I do. And they're all about 2 years apart. I have 6 girls and 1 boy.
Oh, poor guy.
He's right in the middle too.
Well, I'm sure he's well protected.
He is well protected.
Do you think that what's your view on is there an important factor of being a Native American artist?
I guess just really, really digging deep in traditional aspects and cultural aspects. I mean, I don't want to lose any of the history or any of the traditions. I mean, that's just beyond important to me. It really is. And to be able to share those things with my children or my family or my friends is really, really makes me happy. And if I were to lose that or not be able to gain that knowledge, it would hurt.
Yeah, especially at the speed that we lose our elders, and if it's not taught or brought forward, we lose it
Mhm.
forever.
It
What
really
is
is,
some
and
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
oh, and my grandmother, she was a artist too, she did beadwork. Um, and I would always ask her things, and there really isn't enough time because I feel like I didn't get to ask her everything, but that's just the way life is.
Yeah, unfortunately. Have you tried your hand at beadwork?
I have. It's
Yeah.
fun. It is not for me.
You tried it and then thought, next."
Yes, I can, but I'm not great.
So what's the story of your people?
Um, it's really because 'cause we're down on the Aleutian chain. We're seafaring people, and they say that, um, I guess, historically or traditionally, we knew my ancestors obviously knew to build on a certain side of the chain, the Aleutian chain, because of tsunamis and storms and all of that. So that's how they've been able to survive this whole time without any problems. And I'm like, how do you know that? How would you know that thousands of years ago? How would you know?
Mhm.
Like that's just amazes me. Stuff like that amazes me.
Yeah. They were a lot smarter than we are today sometimes, you
Yeah,
think
I'm
about
like,
it.
run?
Yeah. Well, you think of medicines and other aspects, and how to hunt and where to hunt and seasonal things and
Yeah,
safety. It was instincts, but it's also stuff they just knew. They were one with nature and one with Mother Earth. I think
yeah.
we've lost that connection.
Yeah, and that's so true because when I was younger, I remember my grandmother would have me go picking rose hips, and I'm thinking, well, why does she want the rose hips? But now it's because she wanted rose hip tea, and she'd sit there and make her teas, and then people would make fireweed jelly and all of these things, and I'm like, it all makes sense. It makes
Yeah,
sense. Natural cures, that's what they're doing. But I was young, I didn't know.
yeah, yeah. What are these people doing? Yeah,
Yeah,
this old stuff.
yeah.
Just
I'm like,
let's go to the store.
yeah, I'm like, that's a flower. What are you doing?
So is that a continuous development in culturally brought forward now, the importance factor of your
It
tribe to
really,
try to teach
it
the youth?
It really is, and there's I forget his name, but there is a gentleman in Alaska that's making sure to bring back dancing for the Aleuts because a lot of that was taken away during the war. So he's working a lot with the youth, making sure that gets brought back with they were watching old videos and, you know, bringing back everything that they could possibly find, which is really inspiring that someone would take the time to do that and make that happen, especially for the
Mm,
community because that's historical.
absolutely. It's an important factor of who you are and who you are as a people to continue the educational aspect and not lose it.
It
So are
really
the art
is.
so is the arts and cultures a prevalent aspect where you're
It is.
at? Yeah?
It is. It really is.
Well, that's good. So is it being taught? And how about the language? Because I know a lot of tribes right
Yep.
now are in development of continuing educational components to bring back their language.
And that's what they're working on right now, which a lot of the elders are doing an excellent job because there's actually a couple apps right now available to help learn both dialects because there's the Eastern and the Western dialect. So those are getting brought back, which is amazing.
Fantastic. So what are some of the significant and unique arts that are part of the Aleut tribe?
It would definitely have to be the number one and the biggest would be the Badarka, would be the kayak. That
Really?
is just amazing. I don't know I don't know who came up with it, but I know it was Aleut, and I don't know how long ago, but that to build something that can withstand the ocean, just a little kayak, and you're going out there, and they actually, like, if you flip over, I mean, it comes back over. Like, you're
Really?
protected, and it's so lightweight that you can carry it by yourself.
So the buoyancy of it is just keeps it
It's
afloat.
yeah, it's
S-
amazing.
So is it made out of one piece of log or
No,
any
it's
special type of wood?
multiple pieces of wood, pretty much doing like a form, and then they wrap around it. And I mean, before they would use like sealskin or stuff like that, you know?
Mhm.
And it just surprises me how did they come up with that? How did they know that would work? Was it a try and if we succeed or you know?
Right. They took a risk and they went with
They
it.
they did and they won.
So tell us a little bit more about your ledger art, your method of creating your artistic endeavor.
Well, really, I like to get a bunch of maps and I'll just take And I really, really like to stick with the antique maps. I really like
Mhm,
to stick with the antique maps because I feel they speak to me a lot more and they'll probably speak to other people a lot more as well. It's just a little bit more history.
mhm,
Um, I'll take, I don't know, one of the 1827 maps, and they're a little bit larger. Um, and I will look at it, and they're so different, so different. And I'll look at it and I'm like, wow. And I've actually had a couple maps make me cry. And
really?
because I knew what was going to go on it, I just knew. And I did a seal hunting scene on one with the hunters in the Badarka with their seafaring garb and their hunting hats with the sea lion whiskers, all
Mhm.
painted and adorned, and it's just, I don't know. It makes me emotional. It really does. I get so not overwhelmed, but I would say inspired. I would say inspired by each piece that I do, because each one that I do, like the seal hunting one, it just makes me, what can I do next? What can I put
Mhm.
on the next map? And I want to reach farther and do more. That's what I want to do.
So some of the stories that you relay onto the maps, are they connected to the map itself, or are you trying to overlay another
Well,
story from what you see on the background?
well, I tend to stick with all Alaska maps, so yes.
Mhm.
But some of them will be of the Aleutian chain, some of them will be Kodiak, some of them will be the North Pole. So I try to match the map to, I guess you would say, the scene that I'm putting on.
Mhm.
So it really works well as a whole.
That makes sense, that makes sense. So you can see almost a double layer of a story and then bringing it
Yeah,
together,
yeah,
for those interpreting it, as you see the art piece. Do
yeah. And
you
that's one thing.
collaborate? Oh, go ahead.
And that's one thing that I really try to do is with the artwork on the map. I try not to take up too much of the map, so the map is still prevalent in the piece, because I want to be able to see the map as well as the artwork.
That makes sense. Do you think have you seen the urban flow of
Yeah.
Native American art being is it as effective as, up north it is here in the lower 48, I guess you could say?
Oh, it is. I mean, especially for Alaska not to be as populated as everywhere else, obviously,
Mhm.
um, it is a part of everyday life. It really is. Everywhere you
Do you
go.
really?
Yep.
Do you have, art markets up there?
Yes.
Annual art market? Yeah?
Yes.
In more of the urban environments, or do you have rural ones as well?
They are honestly everywhere.
Yeah. I need to come to Alaska.
They are everywhere. The biggest ones are in Fairbanks, and then there's some in Juneau. There's art walks everywhere. I mean, there's galleries everywhere. It is definitely an artist community.
Have you seen the growth of Native American artists in Alaska in the last couple of years grow, or
Oh, yeah.
has it pretty much steady for you guys?
I would say a little bit more, because more youth are learning, which
Mhm,
is great. Um, yeah, but I would say it's growing gradually, because it's just prevalent there.
mhm.
It's important.
Is there one medium more than the other that's, I guess, taken root?
I would have to say no, because
Yeah?
there's paintings, carvings. I mean, people doing totem poles, masks, baskets, and there's all different kinds of baskets, the grass baskets, the baleen baskets. I mean, there are just so many things. People doing drums. I mean, it just goes on and on.
Is there anything in particular you'd like to talk about? To
Um,
promote yourself, about your art, your craft?
I'll tell you, that's one thing I'm not good at, is promoting myself. I'm pretty introverted, and that
Oh.
surprises a lot of people, because they're like, "Really? You seem so outgoing." I says, "No, I fake it. I fake it."
So do you think that's is that related to some of your art, of things that you wanna say, and that just being a more introverted person, you're trying to say that without having to speak, I guess?
I think I try to do that with a lot of my paintings,
Yeah.
make them more bold and out there, and, try to share a little bit more me, I guess, in there. But I do get overwhelmed a little bit, especially at shows, or like this, for instance. This is out of my comfort zone, but I'm doing it.
It's easy. It's easy. Well, no, I think it's a great way to promote yourself, but, when you look at artwork, people usually don't have that connection or ability to talk to the artist, to
That's
understand
true.
their story and what drives them and what motivates them and why you are an artist. I mean,
Yeah.
what makes you an artist and what makes you continue that path, we all know artists are not highly paid. You have to push yourself
You
and you
do.
have to create and you have to crank it out and get out there. So, I think it's an interesting way for people on the other side to actually get to understand the artist and why they do and their stories. I think it's an
Yeah,
important factor, especially a Native American artist, because we have so many stories collectively and separately.
that is
Um,
true.
do you think there's a continued story or a common thread between Native American artists?
I definitely think there's a lot of common ground there. I really do because I hear stories from like New Mexico, and I'll hear stories from like here in Oregon, and I'll hear stories from Alaska, and I'll pretty much wherever, Washington.
Mhm,
And I'm like, wow, eh, we're just all so much alike, but so different at the same time. It's amazing.
mhm. So, given again, you have 7 kids. Wow. How do you teach your kids about your cultural heritage and the important factor it plays in their lives as they get older?
I teach them what I know, and my parents do an excellent job of doing that as well. Um, but there are a lot of, thank goodness for technology, a lot of videos on YouTube um, that are specifically for our tribe,
Mhm.
and they sit there and watch them.
That's good.
And they take it all in, and they're gonna know more than me pretty soon.
They'll outsmart mom.
Yep, and I'll be proud.
Well, there you go. That's the important factor right there. So besides wanting to create totem poles, what
I
else you
will.
wanna what else you wanna do?
I will eventually make a baling basket. That is one of my dreams as well. I really wanna do that. I really do, because just mm, that's one that's like a thorn getting me, and it has been for years, and I'm like, "Well, why haven't I done that? I can do that. I need to do that. I will." It's getting
Is it
me.
just is it just the amount of time it takes to do that?
It does take a lot of time, and a lot of that time is prepping materials, and I've watched my dad do that for so many years. He splits threads, then he shaves threads, and he pulls threads, and it is so much work, and I'm like,
Right.
"That's why they're priced where they're priced."
And patience.
Yes. Uh,
Does your are you gonna let your dad teach you?
yes,
Yeah? Does he
I
have
have to.
patience?
Yes, he does. He does. He's
So
actually 1 out of 9
wow.
children, so we definitely have a large family. I'm 1 out of 5, so
And you mentioned that your grandmother was a artist as well, she did beads?
yep, she did beadwork. Yep.
And did you learn anything from her?
I did how to make earrings. I didn't make these, but the same kind of style.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah,
Is that on your
she
list?
was amazing. Yeah, that beadwork, no.
No?
I've tried.
It does take, I think, a mindset to do beadwork because you have to be focused,
Yes. Yeah.
I think, people that create with their hands and paint are on a journey, so to speak, where beadwork
Yes.
is a little bit more meticulous, I guess, I would use
Yes.
that word.
Another
So
artistic passion of mine would have to be being in the kitchen. That
oh, really?
that I love to cook. Love.
Yeah? Do
And I
you,
know my kids
uh
love that.
do you cook any, tribal relative, dishes?
Um, no, I would say not really. I guess the most traditional thing I cook would have to be fried bread. Yep.
Gotta love fry bread.
Other than that, I'm cooking whatever speaks to me that day. My kids pester me all the time for eggs Benedict, so we have that quite often. I mean, yeah, yeah. A lot of home cooking in this house.
That's good. The kitchen is where the heart is in the home, that's for
It
sure.
it really is.
So you do the art circuit at various markets. Are you represented anywhere?
I am in quite a few galleries. I actually just did a 3-month exhibition with the Sioux Museum. I did that. I'm
Mhm.
in the Kodiak Museum in Alaska. Stonington Gallery, Sisters Gallery, and that's in the Raven Makes Gallery in Sisters, Oregon. The Pottery of the Northwest Gallery in Santa Fe. I'm probably forgetting a bunch.
Yeah, no worries. We can update as we go along.
Yeah,
And you said you do commissions, correct? So
I
are
do.
there any pieces that are public pieces that people can see?
In public places, I'm getting ready. They can here next month. The first week of next month is when I'm doing the installation for the PCC community markets. So that will be ready to see first week of next month.
Fantastic. And
hmm
what's the story behind that piece?
It's going to be multiple pieces, actually very large installation. It's going to be one wall, I think, is about 16.5 feet. And then the other
Wow.
wall is about, if I remember correctly, about 9 feet. So there's going to be multiple pieces there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is there a particular common thread story that's related to this piece?
It's going to be all a little bit, I would say contemporary with the abstract flair paintings.
Mhm.
And a lot of them are going to represent like the four elements, pretty much you know, mostly earth and water, but a little bit of everything else too. And you can see a lot of mountains in them, a lot of water in them. I mean, it's turning out pretty great.
Oh, that's good. How
Yeah.
long have you been working on the piece?
A couple months now. It's
Yeah.
been in the works, yes.
Well, that's good. Well, congratulations on that. That's always a significant achievement. That's
Yes.
a sizable piece of art to be under your belt.
Yes.
Um, any thoughts on what you would tell someone in their youth having I guess, a thought process or a stalemate of wanting to become an artist because they're not supported, I guess?
I would say the biggest thing would be it doesn't matter what anyone thinks. It only matters what you think, because when you love your art and you're happy with your art, everything else will come.
That comes from a mom of 7 kids.
Yeah. And it's true though too, because I've been doing
Inspirational.
art. Yeah, I've been doing art all my life. I mean, ever since I could remember. I remember kindergarten doing artwork. And just one day it started snowballing and they're like, okay, I have to send my artwork here, here, here. And my dad actually made a joke the other day and told me I'm in an avalanche. That's how busy I
Wow,
am. And
wow.
actually working on a collaboration on a children's book right now. I'll be illustrating that. So hopefully I will speed up and get that done quickly.
Do you think there's, a difference between a vision and creative process in applying your art?
um, I would say yes and no. There really, because you can get a vision and be like, okay, well, I see this, but it doesn't always turn out the way it was supposed to, but it turns out the
Mhm.
way it was meant to.
Your hand takes control.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Is there any, words of wisdom that you go by and tell people?
Really, just do what you love and be happy, because
Yeah.
that's what's most important.
So, being a ledger artist and someone that's multifaceted in the arts and wanting to do other things, what do you think drives you as a Native American artist? Is it and also, 2 parts to that question, do you identify as a Native American artist, or do you identify as an artist that's Native American?
I definitely identify as a Native American artist. I'm proud of that. I wouldn't change that at all.
Mhm.
And that's one thing I did go back and forth on. Well, should I just say I'm an artist? And I said no, because I'm a Native American artist. I am.
Yep.
That'd be just like being an abstract artist or what, that's just who I am. And that's what I do.
It's part of your DNA.
It is.
Excuse me. Looking at being a Native American artist, do you think there's a perspective that's shared amongst all of you besides the proudness of being a Native American?
I would say that family. I mean, a lot seems to be the same, like how the importance of family and the importance of being true to yourself, and just, I mean, there's so many commonalities there, and it really is inspiring because it's just like you're always with family no matter where you are.
Mm-hmm. And they're always with us. Our ancestors are always with us. I think that's a
Yes.
very different aspect from other identities. We look at it as
Yes,
our ancestors as always being a part of us, not just because they're gone, but they're always a part of us.
they are.
So if someone asked what defines Heather Johnston as an artist, or what defines Heather Johnston as a Native American artist?
Oh, that's a good one.
I
I
saved the best
honestly
for
don't
last.
know. I'm like, wow, it blew my mind a little bit. What defines me as an artist or a Native American artist would probably be, I would say, inspiration from traditions and the past. That helps define me right there. That's a big part of it.
I think that pretty much wraps it up for us, but I want to thank you for taking the time today to come on the show and talk to us and tell us a little bit about your story and who you are and some of the aspirations you have of wanting to do a totem pole. I need to see that and
Yeah.
some of your pieces next time I'm at Swaya. So thank you so
Yeah.
much, Heather. It's been a joy to have you on the show.
Thank you.